Today, it is March 14th, 2026. In the United States of America, the weather is 28 degrees where I am. Another day done. I worked a night shift, so the day is over when the sun rises for me. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes so people know that I'm live. Today, the title of this vlog or this podcast is Walk in God's Light. It's not too cold. Yesterday it was windy. I was going to do a live yesterday, but it was way too windy. And I just would not work. It would just be way too noisy if I was recording. But yeah, let's get started. So I'm sure you're all aware that we're at war with Iran. I don't like to say we, because we the people didn't initiate this war, but yet we're dragged into it either way. But, a lot of people say, it's funny, this place I walk by usually has their Trump signs up. I guess Trump has done so much damage that they don't have their Trump signs up anymore. What happened to Trump? No bullshit. Oh, look, they literally have their Trump sign now. They put their Trump sign down. Oh. Look. See? Look. They put their Trump sign down. I guess they're done with Trump. I guess they're done with Trump. I guess he's betrayed them so much. It's just like, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. He's done such a horrible job that even Trump supporters are taking down their signs. Look at that. The Trump sign is down. And when I walk through neighborhoods, I see like the Trump sign, and back in earlier, and they used to have those up, and now they're taking them down. See, this is what happens when you put your faith in mankind rather than pray, rather than seek guidance, from God and your family and your loved ones and your community. It's like when you put your faith in man, this is what happens. You're always disappointed. You'll always be disappointed if you put your faith in mankind. Recently I've been watching a lot of religious videos, and the thing that has been disturbing my peace is, hello bro, hi, how you doing? What is that, Mitchie JC? How you doing? Good morning. But the thing that frustrates me about a lot of religious YouTubers and is that they think preaching and saying the word is reciting what you see in the world. Is reciting the evil that you're witnessing. And it's like, it's all it does is conjure fear. Douglas, hey bro, how you doing? Michael Sonder, hello. Where are you now? I'm just walking home from work, enjoying the view. Look at this little ducky. I can zoom in. Look at that little duck. See, that's the type of stuff that I like showing people. I don't like showing people World War III and talking about Epstein files. I want everybody to see the beauty of God. Look how beautiful God's the world is. This is world. This is the world. The world doesn't want war. The world wants peace. Look at nature. Look at the beautiful animals. Look at the beautiful people. This world is peaceful and beautiful. You know, and storms are not war, even though a lot of religions in ancient times depict gods of war as storms. It's not. Storms are natural. That's why I don't like that we call war like a collective, nationwide or multiple nation conflict as a world war. I don't like depicting it as a world war because the world is not at war. We're not at war. Good. What city? Chicago, Illinois. You know, we're not at war. Majority of us are not warmongers. You know, majority of us are capable of, talking with one another and, cooperating and, sharing ideas. You know, I truly believe most of us are capable of this. You know, borrowed no watch live streams. You know, that's why I don't like when religious YouTubers, constantly pump out fear to the audience, and just keep repeating just negative things like it's the rapture, it's the end times, it's the end times. I bet people are feeling like it was the end times during 9/11. I bet slaves felt like it was the end times during, the slavery era in the 1800s. I think a lot of people, feel like their own experience or their own trauma is an event, like a end times event. But the thing is that I think when we're chosen or we have that light in us, we need to spread light. You don't need to keep reminding people of the dark, that surrounds them. It's just like, we all see what's on the news, and the news is there to keep us in a state of fear, is to keep us anxious and depressed and hopeless, and it's like, yes, stay informed, but don't become obsessive of like the world. It's like you don't need to be obsessive of the world. Even if there's agents, even if there's people that are trying to bring you down, that's why they say don't let the devil steal your joy. You are a target, if you have the light in you, and having a light doesn't mean necessarily you're perfect. It's just that you have a divine spark in you that keeps you conscious, What? I swear. Like, what does this person do? Huh? There's like a van all the way back there. See? And I remember watching one guy, and he was telling me that, well, he wasn't telling me personally. I was listening to him talk about, demons that possess people around you in order to bring your energy, your frequency down, and I swear, man, it's like, even when I talked to my father, it's like me and him notice these things, so it's not like this is a conspiracy theory. A lot of people have that feeling that they're being watched, stalked, that they're being harassed, and I believe that is real. I don't believe that it's just a figment of your imagination or you're being paranoid, I think that, it's a sign that you have discernment. It's a sign that you are aware, that you're conscious to the world around you. You pick up on low frequencies. You're very sensitive to energy. And I think that's one thing that me and my father had in common, is that we're very sensitive to energies. And I think a lot of artists have that intuition. I think that's what makes us gravitate to art, is to express or explore our intuition, our guide, our spiritual guide, and that's where I think, it's important to, shut out all the noise. I think it's very important to shut out all the noise. That cart is still behind me. It's just like, I swear, you could be minding your business, and it's always going to be some demons. See, that's the thing. The devil doesn't like you to be happy. The devil doesn't like seeing you have joy. The devil doesn't like seeing you, investing in yourself. Like, what is that card doing? Does he have anything better to do except witness and watch? Like, he literally went to the end of that spot and just sat there. And I'm telling you, I swear, it's like people are just like, they're real. And I'm telling you, these people that are around you are spiritually dead, man. I'm telling you, the people that are surround you are spiritually dead. It's in the Bible. It says that in the end times, the dead will walk the earth. But I feel like, maybe it is the end times, but I don't feel like it's up to us to tell everybody about that. It's not up to us to decide what's going to happen or how we should feel about what's going to happen. It's up to us to have discernment and navigate ourselves through whatever comes our way. And that's why you have to understand that God gives you all the tools that you need. Your fear tells you constantly that you're not prepared, that you're not ready, that it's hopeless, that any resistance is futile, that you're wasting your time trying to step up against this colossal, Luciferian satanic system. It's no way you could stop this. So you might as well feel weak and sad. You might as well just give up. And that's what they're doing to us by constantly telling us about the war in Iran, a war that we didn't get ourselves involved in. Just the Epstein class got us involved in that. So why are we sitting around stressing about that? I have no fear because I didn't kill no kids in a school. I didn't start no war. I'm walking God's path. And I don't care what America does. I don't care what Iran does. I don't care what China, Russia. I don't care what Trump, Netanyahu, Putin, the supreme leader. Ain't no supreme leaders. Only supreme leader is God. These are not my leaders. I don't abide by their time. I don't abide by their rules. I live in their world, but I am not of their world. And that's the way it's going to be until I pass on to the next life. And I'm trying to tell my brothers and sisters that you have to walk God's path. You're not here to walk America's path. You're not here to walk Iran's path. You're not here to walk Israel's path. You're not here to walk Russia's path. You're here to walk God's path. God created every man and woman and animal on this planet. He created the water, the sky, the trees. There's a natural order to all this. The thing is that mankind is so desperate to control everything because our ego and our hubris, it doesn't allow us to accept that we are just a cog in God's natural order. We're here to play a role. We're not here to dominate everyone else. But when you are when you are born into extreme lavish wealth and you're not given the proper education on spiritualism, on relationships, on morality, when you're born into demented darkness, you're going to be a product of that. And unless you have a divine spirit, you're not going to be able to get up out of that. It doesn't matter how bad your situation is. If you don't have the divine spirit to navigate yourself up out of that, you're dead already. You're already finished. If you don't have the capability of discernment, you're done. So it doesn't matter if gas prices rise, if food prices rise, if a nuke goes off. It doesn't matter whatever this world throws at you. If you don't have the ability to if you don't have the capability of discernment and navigating God's path, you are not going to make it either way. It would have never mattered if apocalypse, Armageddon, World War III, it doesn't matter what happens. You're done. Because you're already lost. So that's why I'm always question these religious people, these quote unquote Christians. They're always talking about, oh, the apocalypse, oh, the end times, oh, it's like all I hear is that you are afraid of your own soul. And I believe if you are living in God's path and you're walking God's path, none of this on this planet shall put fear in your heart. Because God is always speaking to you, and you have to have the ears to hear. That's why it's not healthy to digest so much nonsense, so much fear, so much hate, so much disgusting heathenism. You shouldn't sit there and look at the Epstein files. We know what these Roman white supremacist savages, are capable of. Black people have been telling the world this for centuries. Because we are the people who have been affected personally by this. So that's why I'm like, I hear a lot of black people saying, oh, end times, oh, the gas prices, oh, this is nothing that matters to God. Gas prices don't matter to God. Food prices don't matter to God. Man's war doesn't matter to God. So if God is not buckling to this, you shouldn't buckle under it either. See, that's the thing. They want you, and that's why that's why the devil targets God's children, because it inflates demons' egos. It inflates the ego of the demons, of the shadow. It gets off on seeing you suffer. It gets off on seeing you in fear. That's why they drink adrenochrome. They terrify children. They get off on that. See, they're antichrist. We get joy and healing and nurture from seeing others happy, respected, treated with dignity. That's how I get my energy. That's how I get my joy. That's how I get my love. But if you're dealing with a demented, possessed person, they get off on seeing you squirm. They get off on seeing you cry. They get off on seeing you suffer. They get off on seeing you without. They like that. It's not even about having what you have. They like seeing you beg. That's why, you remember that part in Django Unchained where Django's looking up to the one plantation worker guy, racist guy, and he's like, he's whipping his wife, and then Django jumps in front of him. He's like, please, she's one of the house women. You can't damage her. Master will be mad if you do it. And he's begging him. He's like, please, you hurt me. Just whip me, please, whip me. And then the guy looks down like, I like the way you beg, boy. That's the type of people you're dealing with. It's not that there's no strategy behind what they're doing. It's no goal of like, oh, I'm trying to sleep with your wife or your girlfriend. Oh, I'm trying to take your house or your money. Oh, no, it's the pleasure in seeing you suffer. See, that's the demented side of these people. Is that they take pleasure in seeing you beg, seeing you squirm. But that's where you show your strength as a child of God. Is that you let that just ride right off your shoulders. You do not consume their hate. You do not play along with their trauma. You, like martial arts, you take the big bully's energy and you navigate it and use it against him. You just move out of the way. You constantly have to move. You gotta be a Jedi. You gotta be constantly, and in order to do that, you have to have peace. You have to hear the force in your head. You have to hear God speaking to you. And that's from ignoring the noise, ignoring the fear, ignoring the mind control, the manipulation, the narcissist. You know? Like when I look out here, it gives me peace because I know that when I die, this is where I'm going to be. In the water. Not in the water, but as one with nature, like water. Like those, like, what is those? Those little ducks over there. If I could see them over there. You see those little ducks over there? You think they're thinking about World War III? You think they're thinking about Epstein files? You think they're thinking about Donald Trump? You think they're thinking about Netanyahu? You think they're thinking about Israel? You think they're thinking about Russia? That's where you need to be, brothers and sisters. Those two little ducks in the ocean, just living and walking God's path, which is the path of nature. They're just living life and they're loving life. Like those birds over there. They're just living and enjoying life and being pure. They don't have no agendas. They're not greedy. They're not trying to start a war with one another. Look, these are two different type of birds. You got little duckies over here, and then you got some geese over here. Are they like starting a beef with each other? You see them fighting or shooting at each other? No, they're living in harmony with one another. They're loving one another, you know, and they're living in they're coexisting. They're one with nature. Mankind has been cursed by whatever dark matter, shadow, and we have totally deviated from our path as a collective human species. We have completely deviated from that. You know, hear this. The cops will pull you over. You look sus. I wouldn't open my door if you show up. Shut up, you. Okay, I'm gonna be calm. See how I'm getting mad? But you know what? I'm not gonna get mad about that. You know what, my friend, Miso, yeah. Well, if someone's calling himself Miso horny, is like, this is the person. See, this is why this is a demon that's trying to get attention. It's sad because it's like, see, that's the thing. Is that there's all these people trying to deviate and distract everyone from the truth. You know, and I have a warrior spirit, and I get very resentful of weakness. And Miso horny is a weak-minded individual. And you, Miso horny, you weak peasant-minded fool, you don't understand that there's demented people out here looking at you and licking their lips like you think you're cute. I'm trying to give you the shield of God, and you're sitting here playing around and giggling. You know, it's just like you don't get it. You don't want to listen. And that's the thing about people like you. You don't want to listen. And you're going to be the people who are going to, at the end, cry out to God and say, please, I'm sorry. And God is going to reply and say, I don't even know who you are. You thought life was a joke. There's something wrong in the fabric of humanity right now. There's something fundamentally wrong with reality right now. And instead of being mature and listening to your fellow humans and making relationships and bonding with one another, we still got comedians out here. We still got people giggling when girls are getting abducted to islands and abused. Little girls in schools are getting bombed. Innocent women are getting shot 5 times in the face. Innocent VA nurses are getting shot 7 times in the back, pinned down on the floor on their stomach, and you're making jokes still. The nanny 91. Do you have your ramen? Not today. I have God with me always. I don't. Uh, I'm just. I'm just in the middle of talking about how we need to let go of this world, man. And I mean, when I say this world, I really mean mankind. I think we're too egotistical, and we get too caught up in ourselves, you know. And we're losing the plot here. We're losing our connection to nature. That's why now so many people are asking, how can it be that our government is capable of doing this? How can it be that we have gotten so like apathetic and cruel that this is okay? I hate AI. Do you hate AI? I don't hate AI. I just don't participate in AI because AI is antichrist. It's literally helping us simulate into the matrix even more. And that's all this world is trying to do. This machine is trying to do is simulate you into the matrix. That's all it's here to do. And they're pushing it on us. They're pushing that on us, you know, because because these demons, they resent your purity. They resent your nature. They resent your love. You know, the elites. The thing is that you have something the elites will never have. You know, you have something the elite class, the Epstein class, will never have. You have a soul. You have purity in your heart. You have the light. And that's something that they resent. You know? And that's the thing, is like, a lot of us say, I don't want to fight. I don't want to engage the world. I don't want to, you know, and it's like, I'm not saying that you have to engage the world, but you have to engage the truth. You know, you have to engage reality. You know, and that means that you have to stay away from demented, narcissistic people. You know, people that are always, what was it? Yeah, AI is everywhere. But, you know, life is too short to be around narcissistic people who always have something to complain about, who always wants to start a fight, who turns trivial, petty things into a complete shit show. No, you don't have time to waste on people like that. You know, I advise you to spend your time connecting to nature and listening to that voice in your head, that silent voice that has always been with you, guiding you, nurturing you in the darkest times. You know, I don't believe that we will ever know when the end of this world will begin. We'll never know when Armageddon is going to happen. We'll never know these things. And it's not our job to. So don't let these grifters online, you know, these, you know, fear mongers collect your energy for their own individual gain. Because that's what they're doing when they have you watching their channel talk about the end of the world over and over again. You know, they're just collecting your time, your energy, and your resources. You know, you give enough of your time to your job. You know, so give some time to your hobbies. Give some time to your mental health. Give some time to your rest. Give some time to your loved ones. You know, don't let them take your joy. That's all I'm saying, you know, to wrap this up. It's like, don't let them steal your joy. I'm going to say a prayer real quick before I wrap this up. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the glory and power forever. Please, Lord, may you please put a wedge of protection around me, my family, my friends, my loved ones, those who are watching me on the chat right now, live. Keep us on a positive path. Protect us from this darkness and this hate that surrounds us now. Protect us as we walk through the valley of death, which we are in right now. We are in a global valley of death now. Please, Lord, watch over your children. Watch over us. Guide us. And I don't even have to ask you that. You're always watching over us, and you're always guiding us. And for that, I love you forever. Thank you. Thank you. Amen. I love all of you. I know that this world is very scary now, but God is always with you. Man is not in control. Donald Trump, Netanyahu, Putin, the supreme leader of Iran, they're not in control. They're mere men. God is in control. And as long as you're with God, you're always protected. You always will have a shield. I love you all. God bless you. And stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.